This episode is brought to you by Energizer Lights. Rechargeable and hands-free, the Energizer 400 lumens headlamp is going to be your best friend on all your camping trips. Plus, if you purchase a product from the Energizer Lights range, you have a chance to win a share of $10,000. Open to Australian and New Zealand residents until the 24th of the 4th, 2022. Head to energizerlightspromo.com to find out more and enter. T's and C's apply. Link to the terms and conditions can be found in the show notes. Welcome back to It's All Her, the podcast. I'm your host, Jordy Lucas. I'm the founder and editor of It's All Her. I was an actress in a previous life and I'm a mum to a toddler. I've got a lot going on and I have a passion for helping women live simpler, better lives. For the latest in lifestyle and entertainment news, head to itsallher.com. Welcome. I hope you had a wonderful Easter break, feeling refreshed. We got away for 2 nights, and it's just nice to sort of have a change of scenery for a few nights. We didn't do an Easter egg hunt because we have a dog that eats absolutely everything he can get his paws on. So the thought of hiding chocolates around the house for him to find was just too stressful for me. So, Evie just got her chocolate for breakfast, which she absolutely loved, and that was our weekend, back to reality. This week on the podcast, we have Andi Lew, who is one of Australia's leading wellness presenters and experts. We talk about a lot of things. One of the things that we touch on quite a bit is aging and how Andi has sort of slowed her aging process. And it's something that I have been thinking about a lot lately is aging, and I've just turned 30 and everyone around me is aging, and how important is it to me to slow that process or do things to look younger. And I've had Botox before. I'm really open about that. It's certainly nice. I got ID'd at Liquorland the other day because the guy thought I looked under 25. That was really nice. But I think we also need to realise that it's such a privilege to age as well. So many people don't get that privilege to age and get older and look older. So as much as it's great to look and feel youthful, I think we also really need to remember that it is such a privilege to be getting older and to have those little fine lines and wrinkles that represent years and experience and life. I'd love to know how important it is to you personally to be looking and feeling youthful, and even what you do to achieve that, because I think that is something that looks really different for all of us, and I think we need to be supportive of that as well. Anyway, here is my chat with leading wellness and dating expert Andi Lew. Andi Lew, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. You're up in Sydney at the moment. You're having a beautiful weather day. Melbourne's rainy and miserable. How's the week started off for you?
Oh, don't you worry. Sydney had its fair share of lots of torrential rain. We just are very lucky to have 2 sunny days in a row so far. But I feel like I live in Bondi, not Sydney. I never really get out of the Bondi bubble.
So you originally are from Melbourne, or did you make the move? I know that you lived in Melbourne at some point.
So I actually originally grew up on the Gold Coast, and I moved to Melbourne in my early 20s and literally stayed for over 2 decades. And it was a year and a half ago during the pandemic that I decided to flee like a well-dressed refugee and move to Sydney. So I packed up my car with 2 suitcases, a bag of Lego and my son, and we started a new life. We had a permit to cross borders because I started working for Health Space Clinics, which is a chain of allied health professionals. They have chiropractors and acupuncturists rather. And there was a chain of 16 clinics across Greater Sydney, and I managed one of the new grads clinics. So it was a brand new, fresh start for me.
Yeah, wow. Lucky to get out of Victoria. During that time.
Look, it was so bittersweet. It was just one of those weird things where we fled within 2 days, and my house is still there, and making a new life was huge. But I'm such a loyal Cancerian, so I just pretty much stay and make things work all the time. And I think sometimes the silver lining is that something terrible like that happened, because I wouldn't have ever tried anything otherwise.
Oh, I've spoken to so many people who picked up new, hobbies or changed career paths because COVID just forced us to reevaluate everything.
That's right. And I think when you challenge yourself, that's where the greatest growth lies. So this is one of those things where I was challenging myself to a brand new life, but my son is very intuitive too. And he was saying, let's go, Mum, let's go in 2 days. I'm like, no, we have 2 weeks for this permit. Slowly pack up our life and decide what I want to do with the house.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, they're going to change their mind again. We've got to go. So it was kind of him that pushed me, because I think we were all in a state of, fight, flight, or freeze.
Yeah.
And for me, I was in freeze mode and just kind of, be right, I'll be right. No, let's go.
Yeah. So you're a health professional, you're a dating professional as well. Tell us a bit about your career and how you've got to where you are today.
So, it's all been about anything that can optimize somebody's health, wellness, and function within their body. And relationships form a part of that, umbrella as well. And that's why I've written, as a best-selling author, I've written 8 books, and they're all about health, wellness, parenting, birthing naturally, nutrition, and even just healthy relationships online. So the healthiest relationships are the ones that start within yourself, and then everything else is a mirror effect. Yeah. So my whole life, I've been teaching for 30 years now, health and wellness, and my whole life's been dedicated to that crusade. And I walk my talk, and it's inspiring. I'm going to be 49 in July, and I'm not aging the way that people would normally expect. And I love to pay that forward and teach people how that's all possible.
And so when you say you're not aging, do you mean externally or do you mean internally as well?
So the external is a reflection of the internal. So even the World Health Organization talks about the definition of health being not merely the absence of symptoms or infirmity and disease, but rather the state of optimal function. So I focus on true wellness and health, which is about how your body's functioning, and then that gets expressed in our aesthetics and how we look. So, you can tell in someone's eyes or tongue or skin tonality and things like that as to how somebody is aging. Even teeth and gums, are telling on how we're actually aging and how healthy we really are.
And so what are some of your biggest pieces of advice for not aging? How do we do that?
Yeah, so I mean, we can't not age, and it's great to be at peace with it, but being so kind to your body and nurturing it, because we don't have to age at the speed or rate with which we've been taught. So the most important things are, and I talk about this in my book, Connected, a paradigm shift in how we view health. It's 320 pages of my life's work and passion on how to age less and have vitality. But basically, the most important thing is to avoid drugs and medication where possible. And I've just been a big believer in finding the natural alternative. There's a natural alternative to everything. Obviously, we need, and where would we be without the best drugs, doctors and surgeons in the world, in terms of how allopathy has advanced. But this is for emergency care only. We should not be relying on toxins on a daily basis. And it's amazing how many people are still popping pills for their menstrual cycle, for a normal, in inverted commas, headache. Headaches aren't normal. And so many of us are even just having, birth control, which is a drug. Everything's a drug. Even I've never had party drugs, but some people are doing that too. And then they think they can negate it with the effects rather with a green juice on the weekend. It's just not possible. It ages you so rapidly, whether it's prescribed or not, because it destroys gut health and the nervous system health. And what happens is drugs and medication block micronutrition absorption. So it's micronutrition that we need to actually be well, where food not acts as medicine but is medicine, because there's a part of the brain called the amygdala, AMYGDALA, and other parts of the brain that actually switch off your hunger mechanism when you're feeling satiated or full on a nutritional level. So that's where the micronutrition comes in, the vitamins and minerals that we need. The brain needs the folate, the iron, the magnesium, and all these different things. But through our poor diets, whether it's packaged foods and processed foods that have been through a process, we're stripping it of the micronutrition, and our bodies are never feeling satiated. And therefore, when building on our wellness stores over time, coupled with the fact that then we're having drugs and medication and never healing gut health or nervous system health after it, and then we're not assimilating the nutrition as a result. So you could be having the best diet in the world, the best organic food or the best supplements, but if you can't assimilate the nutrition, then you may as well be peeing it out. So that's the next part of slowing aging, is making sure that the gut health, the brain health or the nervous system health, and the hormones are all working at an optimal function. And that's why I'm a big fan of, say, even having regular chiropractic care. So that's one of the other things I talk about in my book, is that chiropractic is probably one of the most misunderstood professions in the world, yet it's the fastest growing profession in the modern world that doesn't use drugs or surgery to enhance somebody's health and wellness. It takes pressure off the nervous system, so the brain, the spinal cord, and the nerves that branch off that, and allows for optimal communication from brain to body, because it's through our nerve system that we perceive the world, adapt to stress, and coordinate all bodily functions. The nervous system is the master controller. So I do everything that I can to make sure that my nervous system and brain is functioning at its best, as well as that second brain, the gut health. Which leads me to what I wanted to share with you, is that brain health really is the new gut health. And I've been, using and discovering nootropics, the company that I found, which is high quality nootropics, which is called the Smart Drugs, but they're not drugs, it's natural supplements. Eutropics is Australia's leading nootropics brand, and it's stacked with 12 nootropics, really high quality. It's TGA listed, so it's been through rigorous scientific research so that they can make claims like improving cognitive function. And it's the way in which the nootropics are all stacked together and combined that creates optimal function, extracerebral blood flow. And, it's the B6, the B12, the tyrosine, Pinus pinus stem bark, all of these things together combined help, the whole brain. So Eutropics Brain is something that I would highly recommend along with the chiropractic care. And then, of course, assimilation of nutrition by avoiding medication.
So do you ever feel unwell? Like, do you ever have a day where you feel off?
Very, very rare, because when you're so in tune, and that's hence the title of my book, Connected, when you're so connected and in tune with your body and your surroundings, you can feel when something is off. So often we take a drug to block that mind-body connection, like a painkiller, for example. It's a disconnect from brain to body. So you can be really in tune with when something is feeling off or not functioning at its optimum. So the allopathic model says, wait till it's broke, then let's fix it with the best drugs, doctors, and surgeons. The key message and takeaway of that is, let's not wait till it's broke to fix it. The wellness model is holistic in its approach, not mechanistic, and it's proactive, not reactive. So I'm constantly being proactive, and there's no ceiling as to how healthy you can be. Wellness practitioners look for dysfunction, not waiting for it to get to a state of dis-ease, which then becomes disease. So I'm always going, is my body functioning at its best? Am I feeling a little bit off? Is this vibrational frequency from somebody else not feeling right? Am I not earthed enough because I'm in front of technology too much? How can I go and get grounded again? And constantly working towards an optimal function state of being, so that you're on this huge preventative level where it's just not possible to allow illness and disease to even enter. And that goes with so many different things that I do, down to even drinking quality water, which isn't tap water,
So what water do you drink?
I drink water that is alkalized and ionized, as well as filtered. The company that I've been getting my water filters from is Waters Co. They do all three things. Otherwise, some people are just getting filtered water, but that's not even quite enough. So alkalinity, cancer can't live in an alkaline environment. So creating alkalinity is key as well. But, coming right down to prevention is just so key. I mean, I just avoid toxins where possible every time, Yeah.
A listener actually sent through a question. You only posted about this morning and it came through quite quickly, is that you've recently cut out alcohol.
Yeah.
So why did you do that? And how are you feeling the benefits?
So I kind of get off on showing people how slowing aging is possible. I mean, I'm going to be 49 in July. I do look 15 years younger. I never feel my age. Whatever that is anyway. And so I continually try new things to, facilitate that. And I get off on seeing the results because they work. So every now and again I would have alcohol because I think we're only human and, we're having a human experience on this probably spiritual world, but we are human. And I never judge as well when I'm coaching, like as a wellness coach, because our souls need to be ready for the types of, healing and evolving that we perhaps are ready to go through. And for some, it might be something emotional, and for others, it might be diet and exercise. And, only your soul will know which level of healing you want to sort of start working on. And I think I was doing all the things like kinesiology, chiropractic, counseling, with a psychologist, and the food was amazing, the movement's great, I'm doing all these things. And then the one thing I thought was, you know what, I am drinking alcohol sometimes. It was probably only maybe once a week, maybe once a fortnight, where I would have either a wine or even perhaps a tequila style cocktail or a white spirit cocktail, and it would usually just be one. But I would always feel less than my optimal self afterwards, and one can only feel that difference when your whole lifestyle is clean. I mean, I don't even drink caffeine. I mean, with the Eutropics brain supplement that I'm having, the good thing about that is that it is an enhancement for the brain. However, most of these come with the crash, like caffeine is a nootropic, for example, but then it comes with the crash. So enhancing neurological function through chiropractic and supplements and diet and everything. And then I was thinking, well, why am I putting this toxin into my body? Having said that, I started off by really just only drinking quality red wine that didn't have any preservatives in it, and it was organic. So you have to have preservative free and organic. And I would only have that sometimes, like maybe once every 2 weeks. And then that was great. But then I went on this next level of a real cellular detox. I had a little bit of a sweat going on. I think I was doing too much. Some stress was happening in my life, and I could feel my body. We raise the temperature, whether we get a virus or not, but our body's raising its temperature to kill off any viral infections that might be going on. That's why we get the temperature. And then once our body reaches that boiling point, it kills off any viruses, and then we actually go through a cellular detox. So I went through this just recently. And you always feel amazing after a cellular detox, or after you've broken a fever or a sweat or something like that. You feel renewed because you literally are new. In fact, it blows my mind that in this day and age we vilify, viruses, but we still really don't know what this virus really is. So it's something that's still so perplexing and new for us all. However, I welcomed this, went on an absolute detox in terms of quality hydration, no packaged foods at all, only organic produce, and nothing that was going to create a histamine flare. And like a lot of foods, including alcohol, have preservatives like 202 and 220 in them, which is a preservative. And it really creates an anaphylactic type reaction in people. Some people can't even have certain alcohol. They get like tongue swelling and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And we just don't realize it. It's in everything. It's, it's preservatives in foods and alcohols and things like that.
It's funny you
So
say
here
that.
I
My
am
mum
having
always gets a red, like she rarely drinks, but she often gets really red in the face if she drinks.
There you go. Yeah.
Mm.
And I wonder whether she would feel that way if she had organic, preservative-free red wine.
Yeah.
And
I
then,
mean, she doesn't like alcohol enough to sort of try it, but if she ever does have a sip or something, she does get that quite strong reaction.
well, look, at the end of the day, alcohol is just like a drug too. It is a nervous system, stimulant, and it creates inflammation. So all disease comes from something psychological or from inflammation. So it's really important to address those things. So here I am now removing alcohol, feeling so much clarity, using the brain nootropics, having the chiropractic and the kinesiology, and getting really earthed, getting, vitamin D, getting my feet in the sand, soil or sea, and just feeling next level amazing, and why would you keep building on that? You start to realize how your body is designed to feel.
Yeah.
And I just get off on that. So I think this is going to stay for me. Having said nothing's ever forever, and we should always be forgiving of ourselves if we have a slip up. We're only human. But knowing how to get back on track is the key, and reminding yourself of your why. Like, why are you doing this? For me, because I just know that life is short. We live, the average person lives until, I think it's 82. There was a study that was done. So that's 82 summers. And how old are you now? And how many summers do you have left? And what are you going to do with those summers? And are you going to even be average? Do we want to be the average person, or do we want to live longer with more vitality? So that's my whole goal, is that there's so much here I want to do on the earth, and I'm going to make sure that I'm, able to have every moment of every day.
Yeah. We're all about making life simpler and better for women. What would be your top tip for doing that?
Well, to just keep things simple.
Yeah. Sometimes easier said than done, though.
Well, when we acknowledge that we are absolute excellent multitaskers as women, I think it's really important to just pare that back sometimes and go, well, you know what, I can multitask and I can do a million things at once, but let's normalize doing less, and let's just do perhaps one thing at a time. And that can be really good for us, because it puts us in a meditative state when we're just focused on the one thing at a time. Sometimes it's not always going to be possible, because it's naturally within us to multitask. But if you're asking me how to keep things simple, just keep it simple, do one thing at a time.
Andi, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast this week. And I will definitely link all those, the links to Nootropics and your socials as well, so everyone can keep up with your health and wellness tips.
That would be amazing. So it's nootropics.com.au, and I'm on andilew.com.
Thank you so much for listening to this week's episode of It's All Her. If you have loved this episode, please rate, review and subscribe wherever you listen, and I'll be back in your ears next week.